I recently posted a couple tweets regarding wanting to pick up a new stills photography camera for myself, and was throwing back and forth some models, some suggestions that I had received and was acting on, and when I announced what I went with, a lot of people were jumping in to ask why I would be switching to Canon, or if I was switching to Canon, or if I was switching to Canon for video too, and what was going on with that madness, because everyone is so personally pressured to identify based on their camera choice for some bizarre reason. So the answer is, let's talk about it right after this.
Useful tech education and gaming nostalgia that won't put you to sleep. Get subscribed and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next guide.
So to not tease you for too long, I have picked up the upside down Canon EOS 6D Mark II full frame 26 megapixel heavy body camera. Picked up a nice bundle here. So we have the camera itself and we have a whole bunch of accessories, some of which I ordered separate, some that came with it because you get crazy camera bundles. Even if you just want like the lenses that they offer with it, you still have to get the entire bundle with all the stupid accessories. So we have the camera itself here. I'm gonna go ahead and open up, see what we get inside. I did get a lens with it, but this is the body only. We've got some paperwork that will never be read ever, because lol. And then in this box, we have a camera charger. I've gone ahead and charged up the battery, but we've got basic charger. It only came with one battery, so I had to order extra batteries. And then you have your typical Canon camera strap, except that this one actually identifies what camera's on it, which is not something I usually see. But this would be perfect for putting on your Nikon or Sony cameras, because, yeah. And then, of course, we have the body itself, which is glorious here. Doesn't want to come out of the box. I don't waste a whole lot of time with unboxings anymore. Then we have the wonderful camera body itself. This thing is heavy. It is one of their, I believe it's one of the smallest full frame cameras that Canon has ever made, according to them, but it is still really heavy. Now, you do have the top LCD screen to indicate how many pictures you have, things like that, and then you do have a flip out screen, which the first 60 did not, which is very handy for YouTubers such as myself, especially if you want to take advantage of the dual pixel autofocus for some of that selfie style vlogging, which I'm not necessarily going to do, but we're going to talk a little bit about that, because that actually fascinates me with this camera. Now, I did pick up a couple lenses as part of the kit. I have here, I already went ahead and opened this one, a Tamron 70 to 300 millimeter zoom lens. It's a lot of fun. It also goes into macro mode. When you kick it over to 300, you have a macro mode. It's all right. It's pretty plasticky, and the autofocus isn't anywhere near as fast as the Canon lens that I got. And then the Canon lens that was bundled with it here is the 24 to 105 f3.5 to 5.6 IS lens. Now, I could of course get better lenses, and honestly, I could of course get better glass. This isn't a Red Ring L series or anything like that. I do plan on getting some L glass at some point. However, I don't actually have like a reason to right now. Ideally, in the long run, I might get back into proper professional photography, at which point L glass would make a lot of sense. But at the moment, it just doesn't. It really just doesn't. All right, so we've got it set up here. Nice screen, big old front element here, and 24 to 105 magic. It takes pictures pretty quick too. If I go ahead and start taking a picture of our set here. What you just witnessed right there was by far my favorite part of this camera, and that is it has a pretty decent sized buffer. Now, I don't know off the top of my head how the buffer compares to other cameras, like on the whole in the grand spectrum. I know this is very nerfed compared to the 5D Mark IV, but compared to my T3i, which is what my first DSLR, and to my G7, I can just keep shooting far quicker as it eventually saves all the pictures to the SD card, which is really nice. Accessory-wise, it came with a lot. These are some mounting arms for my Ninja Inferno that I'm going to be using. This is the box for the Tamron. Came with an entire camera bag, which again, these bundles always drive me nuts. because I'd honestly rather just be able to say, hey, I just want the 2 lenses, keep all the extra stuff. But this is a nice Vivitar camera bag. Like, it's pretty big. If you needed a full camera kit, this is a nice bag to go with, and I might use it for this camera specifically when we go on shoots. Comes with a newer TTL flash, or TTL off-machine flash, camera flash, I don't know. Don't have a lot of experience with flashes. Came with 2 of these SanDisk 16 gig UHS 1 SD cards, which is nice. I always need more SD cards. A little deluxe starter kit for cleaning the sensor, and then it comes with a super tiny mini tripod, maybe for the flash. I doubt it even hold that, to be honest. Pretty useless. And then we have a Vivitar kind of GorillaPod wannabe, which will actually be pretty handy, because this thing shoots 26.2 megapixels, and so that is almost 8K. If I were to do a time lapse, I would be able to upscale just a teeny tiny bit to get an 8K time lapse, basically. So I've got it tightened here on here. I have no idea if this will actually hold the camera, which will be hilarious if it doesn't. This is the 33 Street camera bundle. I'll have linked in the description below on Amazon. Yeah, this thing barely holds this giant camera, but if you wanted to go Casey Neistat style, it'd work for a few weeks at least before it snaps off, probably. I'm just going to go ahead and take that off there for my safety. Lastly, in the box, you have 2 front-end lens extenders, one for wide angle, one for telephoto. They just screw on the front. They're probably going to soften your image a whole lot. I'm not necessarily going to use them a whole heck of a lot. Got a crappy little USB card reader, and then a UV filter to fit the 77mm lens threading of the Canon 24-105. And then we've got a super basic grip that I'm just going to leave here for now. But I also picked up a couple more things. I went ahead and picked up a vertical battery grip and a couple batteries, which I went ahead and pre-charged here. It's a USB battery charger, and it didn't take all that long to charge either. I was very impressed. But the kit itself only came with 1 battery, which was disappointing. If you're going to talk about kit value, more batteries is better. Theoretically, this doesn't need the battery grip in terms of actual battery usage for just still shooting, but I do want the ability to shoot in vertical more conveniently, and my T3i was terrible with battery life, so I just don't trust it. Then I picked up a ND filter for a Tiffin variable ND filter for the 24-105 lens as well. And then this, last thing in here, this is a Lexar USB 3.0 512 gig solid state drive. Now, on the whole, this isn't something that I would actually want, but this slots in to my Lexar HR2 workflow hub that I reviewed way back in like 2014, 2015, which is my multi-stack card reader. I have that last slot that I've been reserving as empty forever. I'm going to put this in here. It is 512 gig SSD that will just stay as a direct mirror of my pictures library. I just had a recent freak out as Lightroom didn't want to open my catalog at all or the backups, and I finally got it working. But until I run out of space on it, because my current pictures library is just under 300 gigs, this will be a direct mirror of my pictures directory, which will be pretty cool to have, and it just slots into my card reader, and I never have to think about it. Pretty cool. Hard to find, though. They seem to have discontinued the HR2 system. For some reason, it's actually really handy.
Taking this camera to a wonderful local park and hiking trail, and I was able to get some beautiful photos out of this camera. For the purpose that I purchased it for, that is, stills photography, I am in love with the Canon 6D Mark II and happy with my decision. The possibility of using it for video and re-entering the Canon video utopia was quickly squashed, however. While I did get some neat video at the park, including this tiny caterpillar climbing up its silk, I did some in-studio quick recordings for a couple recent videos, and the quality left a lot to be desired. It was soft, noisy, all the usual things I normally dislike about Canon DSLR video. Whether I was using the dual pixel autofocus or manual focus, it just didn't look all that good. Would probably be fine for my gaming channel videos, but compared to footage from my Panasonic G7, it just doesn't hold up. I was confused by this lack of sharpness and even hooked it up to my Atomos Ninja Inferno for some lossless ProRes recordings, and while I couldn't get the overlays turned off of the HDMI for my testing, the sharpness wasn't any better, really. The wideness of shooting completely full frame and the wonderful dual pixel autofocus is certainly appealing, but the video produced from this camera is quite sad compared to many other cameras which cost a mere fraction of what this one costs.
So, the question, am I switching to Canon with the 6D Mark II. It is full frame. It shoots 26.2 megapixels. It's got really nice autofocus. Not as good as the 5D Mark IV, or not as good as some of the mirrorless options. Some of the Sony, like the A7 III, probably has much better overall autofocus since it has the points spread out to the entire sensor, and it's got some nerfed features compared to the 5D Mark IV. It's a nice camera. I've gotten, just some of my test shots have blown me away so far as really getting to use the full frame. And the advantage of full frame compared to cropped and micro four thirds and all that sensors for video use for me would be that I get to use, like, I get to shoot much more in my close quarters environments. Like, I'm using a fisheye on my G7 right now for this video, and that's what I've been using because I have to go as wide as possible because it's a cropped in sensor. Whereas this, a 24 millimeter, is like super, actually I can turn it on here. If I take a picture of this setup, this exact same shot with the 24 millimeter on my G7, which I may go do to recreate, would just be like just the camera lens or something due to the zoom in factor. So this works a lot better for close quarter situations in tight environments like I have. However, video-wise, it only does up to 1080p 60, and the internal codec is not all I. They stripped that out from the original 6D to the 6D Mark II in order to further product segment for the 5D Mark IV, which is frustrating. However, it does have over here mini HDMI out, which I could run to the Ninja Inferno that I have to get raw video quality, which I may do for some video tests, and it has really nice dual pixel autofocus for video, which will be really handy. And so I will probably use it in some close quarters situations for video. But on the whole, even from a full frame, I have felt that a lot of Canon's DSLR video that people are able to produce just feels a little too soft and flat-ish. It's more designed for people who are doing cinematography and need to spend forever editing the color and adding sharpness later on and things like that. And so I don't know that I'm switching to it right now. I am much more invested in the Micro Four Thirds platform. I've got two Panasonic G7s. I would love to upgrade to a Panasonic GH5 or GH5S at some point, and not for the image quality, but for actual features involved, as it has synchro scan in order to lock into things like my CRTs, which is why this is always off. It has a lot of actual workflow specific features that benefits me, that may make me stick with Micro Four Thirds and the GH5 for a little while, given that it's more in my budget. Now, I could have gone with the Sony A7 III or the A7 R3 or S3 whenever those come out instead of this, as it's mirrorless. I just really didn't want to dive into Sony's ecosystem right now, and I knew if I was building up Canon glass that I would wind up, because there's actually a couple other Canon specific lenses that I have really wanted for my video shooting, and I knew I would be able to cross use them once I got a speed booster, and I don't know, I just really didn't want to do the Sony switch right now. And so not switching full-time for video, I don't see that as a feasible solution just yet. However, I'm open to it down the road if I get a C300 or something like that. But for now, I'm waiting on the Zcam E2 if I happen to get a review unit of that, and to pick up a GH5, GH5S. And for now, this bad boy is just going to be for pictures. And it takes some pretty good pictures, even in the dark. Just got a nice picture of the audio recorder. Looks pretty good. So I just wanted to address some of the freaking out that I saw on Twitter, as I don't like people worrying about that stuff for whatever reason. And we've been doing a lot behind the scenes to finally get the apartment fixed and cleaned up, and things have been busy and hectic and crazy. Things are finally going to be slowing down soon so I can get back to fully producing content. I've got a couple of videos I want to put out here that I'm really excited to get to. Channel's been growing amazing. We've had our best month ever, month after month after month, for literally every single month in 2018, and I really don't want to slow that down. Hopefully, gonna make some cool content. Thank you so much for your support. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. If you want this Canon 6D Mark II kit, link will be in the description below. Affiliate links as always, and I will see you in the next one.